Alright, so this is the disclaimer. This is not a ban list, obviously, right? As well as is not, what I want or anything of that nature. There's no opinions in here. You know, I'm not trying to hit certain meta decks or anything like that. It's not what this list is about. This list is suggestions. That's why it's in the title. It's ban list suggestions. As in, what should happen to these specific cards that's on the list. So let's run down the cards that I have on the list of what should happen to the cards. All right. Another a little bit more to the disclaimer is that I don't care what is banned, what isn't banned, and me personally, I wouldn't care if every card was unlimited. You can just play anything. It wouldn't matter to me. But ban lists has always been and always will be, what makes the game interesting. It was always a way to change things up, to uh, let you know, hey, try something different. Stop playing the same deck with the same staples, the same strategy over and over again, because it's going to get boring and lame. And without having a ban list, people will just keep playing the same stuff. Get boring. Other people will hate it. Oh, everybody keeps playing the same deck. Frog FTK. You know, over and over again. This game is getting lame. It's all about Frog FTK. It's like, yeah, that would be lame, right? If for years and years, this game is what 20 plus years old. You know, same thing over and over again. So obviously, at some point, you gotta put rules, right? Ban list that says don't play these cards. Play other cards. Play something different. Try something different. Stop doing the same thing over and over again. You know what I mean? That's what makes it fun. Also, business wise, you create a new product. You want people to play the new stuff. You don't want people to be like, I don't see nothing like in the new set. It doesn't support my old strategy. So I'm gonna just keep playing the same thing over and over again. Like, no, play something different. That's what the ban list was always for. It was always for encouraging new strategies, new ideas, new gameplay. That way the game doesn't get boring. All right, so onto the list. So the cards that um I'm suggesting to get banned. Um, for example, number 75, bamboozling, gossip shadow. As opposed to banning heroic champion Rongo Midiad, like it makes no sense to hit him. You know, I notice a lot of people be talking about like ban him, but okay, ban him, but keep the number 75. Like that's not logical. Number seven, Rongo was never an issue until number 75 became a thing. And we don't necessarily need number 75. It's a good card nonetheless, but we don't need it. If you get rid of um, Rongo, it's gonna get replaced. One thing I like to see being a replacement for it, and I would like to see a combo of it, is Ghost Trick of Mischief. Get her 20 XYZ material, Exceed material, win con. Somebody's gonna figure out a way to get multiple materials onto her using number 75 and then win that way. And then you get an FTK if somebody can perform it all on first turn, maybe with dangers or something. So it's like you're not really solving a problem. You're just encouraging another problem to take its place. Now, if you ban number 75, then Rongo wouldn't be much of an issue, and you don't have to worry about somebody trying to figure out how to make Ghost Trick Mischief, um, you know, win, do her effect to auto win. So you're gonna not only that is that also number 75 can be used for a lot of other cards that will love to get a whole bunch of materials to go off and do a whole bunch of stuff. There's some that they'll get 1,000 attack power for materials. So somebody's gonna figure it out and like, all right, boom, boom, boom. add all these materials, and now I have a 12,000 attack per game. Like, see the pattern. Number 75 is going to keep creating other scenarios like that. Other scenarios where it's going to be number 75 itself is going to be part of a win condition. So hit that. That's the logic behind it. Me personally, I don't care if it stays in the game. I like number 75. I like the whole detaching to turn that an effect into a draw card. It's kind of like an effective game card. I like that. But the whole attaching and giving an exceed monster more materials, and if that exceed monster can benefit greatly from those materials, yeah, I see it creating a problem. Realistically, it never had to have that effect, but that's how Konami created. All right, moving on. Topologic Gunblar Dragon. Um, Obviously, the whole using it to loop your opponent's hand, therefore your opponent can't play, therefore your opponent, will essentially auto lose afterwards. And we got stuff like wind up loop span and other stuff like that. We got delinquent duel and confiscation. We got stuff that already got hit that that's currently banned that hurt your opponent's hand. It's cool to have an effect once in a while that comes in handy that helps you affect your opponent's hand once in a while. That's like one area that typically doesn't get affected. Inherently you can affect somebody's graveyard. Inherently you can affect somebody's deck with certain card effects. Inherently you can affect somebody's field. Attack their monsters or pop their back row. Like that's your hand tends to be more safe, more sacred, right? In the game. So that's why it makes sense to have a couple effects in the game that you can utilize to affect the hand. Makes it interesting. But it shouldn't be like I spam. I have some random deck right of mixed match cards that gives me this engine that easily gets me Gunbar, and then now I just loop my whole opponent's hand. And it's like, see, that's too easy. Hand looping shouldn't be easy. You know what I mean? Should be specific. Should be like, oh, I play drag down to the grave. Look at your hand. Get rid of one card that I feel that's a problem. You look at my hand. You get rid of whatever I have in my hand, and then we both draw a card, and then we continue playing the game. I had some control. I didn't take away your whole hand and prevent you from playing the game. I just had some control, and that's okay to have some control. But you shouldn't just flat out take your opponent's hand away and not let him play the game. All right, so moving on to Trickstar Reincarnation. Some people, of course, will be like, well, Drawn Lovebird should be the thing hit, hit Drawn Lovebird because Drawn Lovebird does with Trickstar Reincarnation and other cards similar to that will create a hand looping type of ability, the ability to get rid of your opponent's hand. The thing is that Trickstar Reincarnation banishes the hand. That's one thing. That's one thing that makes it way more different than any other card, like just Disturbance Strategy. Disturbance Strategy just makes your opponent put their hand back in the deck and shuffle and draw the same number of cards. You know what I mean? So they're not losing anything; they're just replacing. With the present card, makes your opponent drop, discard their hand and draw 5 cards. Again, since the cards in the graveyard, they probably have access to it. There probably monsters that have graveyard effects, probably spells and traps that have graveyard effects. So they're not losing anything from those 2 cards. Trickstar Reincarnation, banishing your hand. Okay, you're losing those resources. Unless those resources have effects that activate out of play, and you can get them back from out of play. It is a big deal that they get banished. Just point out that Trickstar has a really strong effect. Right. So another thing about Trickstar Reincarnation is it's searchable. Like I have no problem with the card specifically. Obviously not. It's a good card. I like it. I like it, especially the ability to banish it from Very Reborn. Is good and it's part of the archetype. So I'm a fan of Trickstars, but at the same time, it's when you think of the Drawn Law for Trickstar Reincarnation combo, Reincarnation is searchable. In the archetype, I'm not interested in like hitting Candina or the field store or any of that extra stuff. It's like, oh, let the trick stars be trick stars, right? Let's just ban the reincarnation because it's a searchable disturbance strategy, so to speak, or a searchable present card. You know what I mean? Ban trick star reincarnation, and then of course you have substitute, which is disturbance strategy, present card. You have cards that can still give you the ability to benefit from the Lycris, you know, burn, like stage burn strategy. So you can still do what trick stars typically do, which is like they're essentially chain burn 2.0. But let's take away the vanishing of my resources, my hand permanently, ability, as well as the whole it's searchable ability. Now, the draw and log thing, that's a combo. That's a strategy. Now, what I mean, you gotta play certain cards in a certain way to pull it all off. So, can reincarnation and draw and log get hit? Yeah, we could also hit draw and log. We could. But at the current moment, the idea is to like at least slow down the idea of reincarnation draw and log. So we hit the reincarnation and let the other traps get used as substitutes. But at least it's not searchable. The other ones aren't searchable, therefore it slows things down. And also, what you can also do is limit the other two. If it's such a big deal, that's another thing. You can also limit draw and log per se. But the thing is that it's better to limit the traps than draw and log because like let's let draw and log have more time to shine because it slows your opponent down by itself. Like when you use it against your opponent plays a draw card and you play it afterwards, and then it's like, okay, they can't do all these searches, all these plus. It's good. It's fair because of the fact that it prevents your opponent from taking 12 hours in their turn to set up a 3 to 5 card board. Getting 3 to 5 cards on the field is like, really, you started off with 5 cards, right? And then you start doing all these combos, all these link climbing, all this, all this actions, right? You had 32 actions in one turn just to establish a 5 card board, just 5 cards on your side of the field, and maybe you have like 1 or 2 cards left in your hands. So it's like you went from 5 to 7, and it literally took you 12 hours. You know what I mean? So it's like it's good to be able to like, oh, draw leopard. You can play with what you have. You don't need to go search more from your deck, draw more from your deck, and keep on going. Like just build something with what you got, and let's play the game. So it's fair for. I see it as fair. Plus it's just recently been getting more use. So it's like, why are we going to now? It's usable. We want to hit it. Get rid of draw leopard. Let's give it some time to shine. Straight Star Reincarnation has been in the game long enough. It can go. It can go. I'm just saying, it can go. Divine Sword Phoenix Blade. It's reusable. That's the thing. The whole ability bashing to warriors added back to the hand, so you can use it as pitch fodder, use it for other things. Main thing is pitch fodder, right? Is the ability to discard for nightmare monsters or to discard for any card effect. Where it's like, oh, discard this and do this effect. It's like it's a equip card, right? It's a equip card, so it goes with Isolde. It's a spell, because it's a equip spell card. Then if you had a card on the field, like let's say you had Dark Paladin, you had a warrior deck that can summon Dark Paladin, right? Like Goki Dark Paladin or something. Now you have a spell card you could pitch for Dark Paladin's ability to negate something and then add it back to hand. Or let's say no, well Goki, since most of them are Earth, let's say you make Notorious Beast Landois. Now you have a spell card you can pitch for Landois' ability. Now you have a reusable effect negation, which I like the strategy, of course. Haven't seen no one really do it, but I like the strategy. But all in all, it's like, you might want to prevent that, right? As well as you might want to prevent just the all in all, inherent reusability of it, especially with stuff like Dark Warriors and Gokis and stuff, and then you're banishing the warriors to get the spell card back, but then you bring back the warriors from out of play with, like certain card effects like DDR or something like that. And it's already doing stuff and it can always do more in the near future. The fact that it's playable right now, and it's been so many years since it was slightly playable. Now it's more playable. So now you see it a lot. It's like, okay, it doesn't need to. It doesn't need to be here. You know what I mean? It doesn't hurt any other deck. It's not like it's an archetype specific card. It's just a tech card. It's a card that's being used because it has a use. But we can get rid of it so that way it doesn't get used. Let me rephrase that, so it doesn't get abused the way it's being abused. So the Divine Sword Phoenix Blade can go. Duel. Personally, I just don't want the Dark Flare Knight, not Dark Flare, Metal Flare, Red Eyes Darkness Metal Flare. Um, he doesn't need to get. He doesn't need to get hit. You know, he doesn't need. He definitely doesn't need to get hit. Let him get some play time. Let him get some use. Even I'm, using him in a couple of decks. So like, let him play in the game. Duel doesn't hurt nobody. Doesn't hurt no deck specifically. The only thing is that if you use it in combination with Metal Flare Dragon, you get an FTK, and nobody wants to play against an FTK. And FTK shouldn't be relatively easy. If you can perform an FTK, and it's really hard to and very complex to perform it, then it's okay, it's fair because it's complex. It's not just anyone can do it. Not a simple combo, right? Not a simple strategy. But when you made it streamlined, you made it easy to FTK. Oh, okay. Here's an easy FTK. We gotta ban it, obviously, because it's easy. If it was an FTK that was hard and complex, then it's not worth hitting because it's complex. It's not consistent. Blah blah blah. All the reasons why you wouldn't hit a specific FTK. But if the FTK is easy and consistent, oh, you gotta hit it, of course, right? Moving on, evening match. I'm not gonna go into like many different examples or details of why evening match should just flat out get banned. It's supposed to get limited or something like some other people might want it to be, or they just don't want it to get hit at all. It's just it's been in the game long enough, and people got to enjoy and whatnot. But it's like we play the game without it. We can play the game without it again. So let's just ban it. It creates a certain way of playing, and we should get back to the way we used to play. We used to think and strategize and find tech cards. Not every deck should just automatically inherently have evenly matched main or side. That's all it is. There's never a thought of like, is this card, can I put this card in my deck, or can I have this in my side? No. You can. You can side it or you can main it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you put it. It's going to be somewhere in your deck, either in your sideboard, right, or in your main deck. It's never like, oh, I don't need evenly match at all. Everybody feels that you always need evenly match. So that's a really strong reason to ban it. The whole like, it's like inherent. Like when you decide to build a deck, it's like, all right, 3 evenly match, and now whatever I have. Oh look, I have a Burning Abyss deck. Let me build a Burning Abyss deck. Like the first thing you think of is evenly match, permanents, hand traps, and then you think about what deck you're gonna play, what archetype, or if you're gonna play something gimmicky or OTK, FTK, or like it shouldn't be the last thing you think about. It's like, what's your win con? Your win con should be the reason you build a deck, the reason you play a deck. It shouldn't be like, okay, hand traps, evenly match, and then I think I will go with an FTK for this format. Like, what? That shouldn't be the last thing you think about. Anyway, like I said, I didn't want to go into too many details. It just should be an obvious thing. Let's just ban it. We don't need it. We didn't need it before. We don't need it now. Sky Striker, Mecha Hornet Drone. Long ago, before Hornet Drone got hit to 1, I was like, you could ban it. I have no problem. There's nothing wrong with any of the other cards in tricks. I'm not tricks in the Sky Striker deck. But Hornet, you use it. You make Kagari. Kagari gets it back. You play it again. You can make and you can make start climbing up the link ladder. It's splashable. Anybody can play. It's not generic. I mean, it's generic, so not specific. It's generic, so anyone can use it. It just becomes a very splashable thing. Like you don't need to play anything else from Skytrackers other than just drone. So that's what makes it a splashable engine. It's like, you know what? It shouldn't be that easy. You shouldn't have a one card, like a spell card, that inherently lets you go up the link ladder. Just you play the spell card, you automatically go up the link ladder. Think about that. That's instant link summoning off of one spell. It should, the idea of link summoning is supposed to use your monsters. First, you got to get the monsters on the field, right? Then you use the monsters on the field to go up to the next level and link up, right? Link up into a stronger strategy. It shouldn't be, before you even normal summon, without even having monsters in your deck, or without even summoning a monster. You play a spell and go from there and start going up the link ladder. It's like, yeah, we're kind of straying away from monsters mattering. Where now it's more about your extra deck, less about your main deck. So you don't need main deck monsters. Just play some spells and stuff and make an extra. I literally made some decks where I have no monsters in the main deck. It's all instant fusion, hornet drones, scapegoats. Did I say instant fusion already? Instant fusion. The other card, Fiend Sanctuary. It's a spell card that makes a token. And I just make link Prevo and go from there and link lock my opponent after I play a soul charge. Because since I'm link climbing, the exceed monster, the link monster that I used to make another link monster is now in the graveyard. Then I can play soul charge, bring them all back, or put them in the order I want, so I can link my opponent. And I didn't even have to play not a single Goki, Dark Warrior deck, or any other deck that gets used for like linking. All I used was literally spells. You just use spells, spell cards, and I link my opponent. Like I literally only use my extra deck to link to link my opponent. I didn't even need to have monsters in my main deck. That's not the way the game should evolve to, where it's all your monsters are in your extra deck, and all this in your main deck is spells, traps, and it's mostly floodgates and stuff like that. And even if you did put monsters in your main deck, there'd just be the hand traps, ghost ogre and stuff like that. Hand traps, that's it. And then you just be using them for hand traps. You barely would use them for link summoning. You just use them for the hand trap. It's like, yeah, that's not the way the game should be. You shouldn't get to that point where hand traps are the only monsters you play. Your extra deck is your real deck, and you got spells and traps that fill in your deck. So you have a 40 card deck, and most of these cards are deck thinners like Upstart Goblin and Ghost Sark, whatever, to make your deck even thinner, but still spells and traps and a couple monsters. They're just hand traps. They don't even count as monsters, they just count as traps. And then it's like, wow, this game is getting to the point where it's not the way it used to be. Used to have monster spells and traps, and then the spells supports the monsters, the traps help you, respond to whatever your opponent does. It's interactive, and that's the whole idea of the game. But it evolved to a point where it's like, hey, it doesn't matter what's in my deck. What matters is what's in my extra deck and then my side deck. What I can swap out in order to access my extra deck even more, and literally use all 15 cards in my extra deck to beat my opponent in a single duel. It's like, damn, that's the game. Sorry for the rant, but the point is, yeah, hit drone. Scapegoats is slower. You know what I mean? And there's other cards that create tokens and stuff like that that are slower. Drones is not slow, therefore it should go. Hey, rhymes. Anyway, Soul Charge. I'm a fan of Soul Charge. Who isn't, right? We all love Soul Charge, and a lot of us hate it. But it's been in the game long enough. I appreciate it. Thank you, Konami, for making it. Thank you for allowing me to use it to make decks that otherwise wouldn't be playable. Thank you for that. But it is time for it to go. Do I want it to go? No, hell no. It's a staple for me. I love this card, but it got to go, right? It's fair. This list is not about what I want. It's about what makes sense. It makes sense that it's been in the game long enough. It should get banned. You know what I mean? Give it the honor of getting banned. You know what I mean? Respect it. Don't treat it like it's not ban worthy. It's ban worthy. Ban it. Give it the respect it deserves. Ban it, and then bring it back like 2 years from now. You know what I mean? Bring it back at 3. Hey, I'm not going to complain. I'm just saying. But ban it. Give it the respect it deserves. It's ban worthy. Ban it. moving on. Glow up bulb. All right, so we got, glow up bulb, one card. What do they call it? One card crystal needle fiber, and then of course the needle fiber can bring out what is that? The Mecha Phantom Beasto Lion, and then you make summon sorceress, and then get the token, and then you just go from there. Once you make summon sorceress, the sky's the limit, as they say, right? You just go and do some other place. But the fact that you can literally start off with one glow bulb and get all the way up to summon sorceress, I like her. I love Bay, right? Waifu. But going from glow bulb straight to her, woo! I'm a fan of glow bulb. I literally just bought a whole bunch of them. So I just got like a couple days ago in the mail my glow bulbs for my deck. Would hate to, you know, the glow bulb to get banned since I just bought some for me to use. And I do plan to do it obviously needle fiber and go up into some sources to make some plays off of that. But logically it would make sense that glow bulb has been here long enough. It's been used enough to do certain things like climb up the link ladder among other stuff. It's nerf tuner, which is awesome. But also it's essentially a free, again, it's a free resource because you don't have to discard card from your hand to bring it back from the grave. You don't have to take the card from your hand and put it on top of your deck to bring it back from the grave. Or something like that. So the synchron play spreader is a little bit more fair because you got to give up something, aka an advantage, to use those resources, and that's the way it should be. That whenever you're doing something, it should eat away at your hand, right? If it's trying to create something powerful, you're trying to do something, your hand should get smaller in the process. It shouldn't just stay the same, or And then of course, again, glow bulb straight up to the summon sorceress. That's so many pluses right there. Because now you got a whole bunch of monsters in the graveyard. All you have to do, your next card you play is what? Soul Charge! And then just vomit your whole extra deck onto your board and beat your opponent. See what I'm saying? Glow bulb, Soul Charge. Understand why they need to be banned? Just saying. And that's the end of the ban of my suggestions of what should happen to these cards. I agree that they should be banned worthy. That's what I'm saying. That they're banned worthy. I don't care what the list actually ends up looking like. I'm just saying these cards are banned worthy. Next on the list, what I feel is limited worthy of being limited. Let's bring some stuff back from the ban list, that people can utilize and play. Long overdue, plus Konami said long ago that they're going to let everything on the ban list get unbanned at least once, right? So Firewall Dragon coming back, but with an errata. So we get errata, we print a Firewall with errata. Konami makes more money, great for them, and we get Firewall back. You know what I mean? The way he should have been, right? With an errata. So I'm moving forward. Move on to the next thing. Number 16, Shockmaster. Great classic card. It's been there on the list long enough, and so you can try to bring it back. Just other monster, other cards on the ban list that can unban. I'm just not going to list every ban card that could come back with an obvious errata or just come back in general. I'm just going to point out that number 16 Shockmaster, it's a very good card, popular and whatnot. Bring it back, of course, with an errata, but bring it back, make it more balanced, and that way people can have a little bit of fun. Because it'd be nice to have something that has a decent use. The ability to potentially, stop the opponent from playing certain spells or spells at all, or stop them from playing traps, or stop them from playing monster effects. Like depending on how the errata works out, it'll be a more balanced out version of the effect. They could just make it where it's like Shockmaster is more not like a floodgate when it comes to like monster effects, spells, traps. It could be more of like a response, like, oh, you activate a monster effect, I could detach a material, and for the rest of the turn, that monster's effect and any other monster with the same name as that monster effect gets negated for the remainder of the turn. And like, that's decent. It's only affecting one monster. It's not affecting all the monsters you play that turn, just one monster. That would be a fair errata. And then the same goes if your opponent plays a spell card. Oh, your opponent plays Turn Twist and you use this effect to to negate the Twin Twister, and then for the rest of the turn, all copies of Twin Twisters, their effects are also negated. That'd be interesting, and you could do that same for a trap and so forth and so forth, right? So, that'd be a fair way to make a Shockmaster. Moving on. Premature Birth. Uh, with Link Summoning this, that, and of course they want to promote Link Summoning. Why not bring back Premature Burial? To at least to 1. If you want to bring it back to 3, hey, do what you want. I'm down for it. Because we have Living Fossil, so the idea of an equipped card that brings back a monster from the graveyard is not a, oh no, we can't have that in the game type of an effect. So bring back Premature Burial. It can let you bring back any monster from your graveyard specifically. From the graveyard onto the field. Granted, yes, Premature Burial doesn't negate the monster's effect. You can say Living Fossil negates the monster effect. Like, well, yeah, but this is why we would like to bring back Premature Burial, because it'd be interesting to have something you could bring back that can still do its effect. That'd be interesting. And like I said, limited. No one says let's go crazy and have 3 copies of it per deck, and every deck that summon can make ESO, will have 3 Premature Burials in the deck or whatnot. Whatever, right? It's a good card. I'm just saying it can come back. At least at least to 1. It's been banned long enough. Let's bring it back to 1. Pay 800. Bring back something. Have a little bit of fun. Let's see what happens. You know what I mean? Moving on. Harpy's Feather Duster. DBGT has it. Harpy's got support. Not many decks in the current format, for example, play a lot of back row, but slowly we're getting back to playing back row. So it'd be nice to have a solution and out, because some back rows are getting more powerful, right? More dangerous. More archetypes are inherently starting to have more main deck floodgates. Like their own version of Skill Drain, or their own version of Rivalry the Warlords, or Ghost Match. So like more stuff is coming out. It's making it where like, oh, okay, as long as I play this back row, boom, I can prevent my opponent from playing Yugioh. Like, oh, okay, that's becoming more of a thing. You kind of need something to, be able to battle against it, right? That's the whole point. Interact, right? You do something, then I'm supposed to do something. You build a back row of powerful traps. I should have a way to break that board, right? And if that back row specifically hurts my monsters, well, I can't use monsters to get rid of your back row, right? So I need something that can get rid of your back row, like a spell card. So Harpy Feathers, Heavy Storm, Giant Trinity, these cards can be unlimited for that specific purpose. To allow, since we have Dark Horn Regeki available to help us break monster boards, why not have a way to break spell boards, spell and trap boards, right? Back row. Also, these kind of cards will be useful against certain stuff like Sky Strikers, Alter Guys. If you want us to use these cards against, want to let us have these cards to use against those decks, then so be it. Just saying, these could be options. I don't care either way if these get a ban or not, but I'm just saying they could. So it's all a construct. A lot of people want to come back, so that shows that people like the deck, and they wanted to come back and they wanted to play it. It's a good card. I don't care. I'll still play Shaddoll without her, but would I like to play with her? Why not? Just throw one in the extra deck and there you go, into my Shaddoll deck. But it's popular demand, is what I'm saying. Buy popular demand, bring her back. I never saw her as a problem initially, so I never saw why she should be banned, but she was just a good card. But if you want to use the argument, she's not too different from like what's that spell? Future Fusion or foolish, like she's Foolish Bird on crack. If that's your argument, that why she was hit and this, that, and there, and why she deserved to be banned, then it's like, okay, that's your viewpoint. Like I didn't see a problem with that, because that made sense for the archetype. She specifically, did her thing in the archetype. You kind of needed her to send the monsters to the graveyard to get their effects off. Granted, you can send other monsters, so I understand, that a Foolish Bird like effect is very powerful in this day and age. It's more powerful now than ever was before. But we're so used to playing other cards to send stuff to the grave. Why would we make a big deal about construct sending stuff to the grave? Like, that's stupid. Like, that's one of our favorite effects, is sending shit from our decks to the grave, right? So why would we want it to be not available? Anyway, moving on. Semi-limited. Oh man, I just realized I didn't even make a semi-limited list. Huh, that's weird. I feel awkward. I made a post on my Facebook page, Carglass TV one on Facebook, and I just realized that I didn't even have a semi-limited list. I went straight to unlimited. I forgot to make the semi-limited list. So I'm thinking, like, what would have been on the semi-limited list? Realistically, I don't think I would. I even think it's logical to even have a semi-limited list at all. I always think that that's weird. Anyway, I think that's part of, realistically, ban, limited, and unlimited is the way I always think. Semi-limited just never makes sense. It's just half-assed. So anyway, moving on. Sorry for the rant. The thing is like, let's unlimited. What I like to see unlimited, because it's like, it makes sense that it was unlimited, as well as it's like, why not? Some of these cards are either limited or semi-limited, but it's like, why not making it unlimited? So the two I'm mentioning, there's tons of other ones I could mention, but I only want to mention two, which is Necroface. She's currently at 2. Let her be. Let her go to 3. Let her go to 3. An emergency teleport is currently at 1. Let it go to 3. One of the reasons why I would like it to be at 3, like, this is my personal like. It's logical to let it be at 3. Let psychic decks do things with it. But the main thing I want emergency teleport to be 3 at, my reasoning for it, is the fact that we're getting that psychic psi reflector for the 1-star psychic tuner that can, one turn assault mode, and there's a whole bunch of assault mode support. So why not bring this back to 3, so that way it can go with that, so that way you can use it. That way you have a way to get the tuner out and get the tuner's effect and go off, since the whole idea is that the tuner is very important for the assault mode support, and making it an assault mode deck. So since that's going to be a new R type thing, or at least a more support for a the assault mode R type, why not make it easier? So I'm just saying, originally still put back at 3, so that way it can go for that. But also, Cosmos, they got their Dark Destroyers back at 3. They will love 3 emergency teleports for their for their psychic Cosmo monsters and stuff like that. So that could help that out. Maybe a couple other psychic type decks that people might want to play with. I'm just saying, it's like, why not, right? For whatever reason, it was limited to 1. That reasoning should no longer still apply. So we could get it back to 3, because now we will want it back at 3 for a specific use, so we can play the new support, and whatnot. And add more to the disclaimer, because this is the end of the video right now, is, again, this is just suggestions. These are things I'm saying that should happen to these cards. It's not a ban list. Everybody loves doing their ban list prediction. Everybody likes creating their own fantasy ban list. Like, oh, this is what the ban list should look like. This is what I want the ban list to do. I hate this deck because I can't beat that deck, so I want these cards to be hit. I don't like this deck. I can't beat that deck. So I want so it's like everybody has their own, bias, their own, selfishness of what. So when they make a list, it's always selfish. It's always what they want. I don't do that. That's why I specifically use the word suggestion. These are things I'm suggesting, and I'm making this video to explain these suggestions. Explain why you could bring back, obvious feather dust or whatnot. The reasoning behind, not that, oh, I want it back. I don't care if it's in the game or not. You know what I mean? I don't care if Konami makes it where, all the cards on the ban list actually count as non-official Yu-Gi-Oh cards ever again. So the ban list no longer exists right now. Like they emptied out the ban list, and every card that was on that list are non not official Yu-Gi-Oh cards anymore, or some weird shit like that. I don't care. I don't care what Konami does. It's their game, you know. What they do with the list doesn't matter to me. A lot of times, I'm always playing stuff that barely gets hit by the ban list. The only time I ever had a deck that got hit by the ban list is when I was playing my Dragon Ruler Assault Mode deck. It's the only time I remember. Like, oh man, my Dragon Rules, they got hit. No surprise, they're so good. I understand y'all hit them. I had to hit them. But man, that sucks, right? That's like the only time. Other than that, everything I play barely gets hit, or if it does, it doesn't matter. I find something to replace the card, or you know, play a different deck. Sometimes some new support come, like a new set comes out, and new strategies or better cards come out. I'm like, yeah, I like Assault. But Cyber Dragon Infinity though, totally awesome. Dawn Drax, wow, these are some pretty good cards, and they essentially let me do what I was already doing with Assault Mode. So it's like, you know what, I like Assault Mode, but these cards are easier to make and summon and blah blah and splashable and decks. I didn't have to build a specific deck to summon or someone. I just, I can just splash these cards on Dragster to stand at third and these other decks. I like Legendary Six Samurai Sheehan, but you need samurais to play him, so I can't splash him in all my decks. But Don Dragster is generic. I can splash him in all my decks. Now I have a monster that can negate spells and traps as long as it's on the field every turn. I like that. Because what matters to me is the effect, right? And being able to use the effect and to be able to battle and interact with my opponent with these effects and battle them. So, and that's the end of the video.